right, hi everybody. Um, hello. I've spoken at 2 other events this week and 3 last week, and my heart is still beating out of my chest every single time I do this. So bear with me. So a little bit about me. I co-founded a company called One Mena in 2013. We launched officially in 2014. My family developed a family office recently, a few months after we launched. And my brother, sister, and I became the directors of that family office. Alternatively, I fell in love with tech investment and angel investment in the Middle East and started actively investing. Strangely enough, people tend to be quite risk averse, especially women. So now, regardless of my other experience, apparently I'm one of the most active angel investments in the Middle East. Because of the amount of support I've gotten from CPI and other media entities like it, we've been highly recognized for the work that we've done, lots of articles, awards, and listings, so on. So essentially, what is One Mena? Now, the easiest way I can explain this, and I did for the first year and a half before angel investment or venture capital became quite popular in the Middle East, was that I was a startup that helped startups start up. Most people don't understand that. When you're going for funding and you're trying to get outside investors to help you grow your company, they understand A to B very simple, very logical methods of structuring your business. And I'm sure a lot of you know that SMEs are becoming much more complicated, technologically savvy, and much more complex. So this is as easy as I could have put it 2 years ago. We launched November 1st, 2014. The first article on the left-hand side, your right-hand side, was from CPI, Financials, Finance Middle East. They were our first article and our first supporters at this. I actually spoke at SME Beyond Borders a few days after that with a nice little emotional keynote about my journey as an entrepreneur and a female, Arab female entrepreneur in the Middle East. And very proud to be here 2 years later showing the success. A few months later, with the amount of success we got from the community in the Middle East, we were on the cover of Wealth Arabia, also our first cover, and a big thank you to CPI for that. So essentially, One Mena is a network of women that invest their money in startups. We expanded that to be a sort of platform for diversity and inclusion in the investment, finance, and technology space. We have 2 arms of our company. One is an angel investment platform. So we find companies for our investors. We have pitch events where those companies pitch, and then we do all the difficult legal and bureaucratic work behind it to make that investment happen. The other arm is education and awareness. So this is where we come to conferences, or we work with corporates or public entities to raise a little bit of awareness about early stage tech investment, about including women in the financial sector, and including women on the executive team of a lot of companies. So, what is angel investing? Right? Very simply put, it's not just investment, but it's investment of financial capital, emotional capital, human capital, social capital. You are trying to help the companies that you're involved in succeed. And you come in at such an early stage that the founder of the company is usually still the CEO. So it's very emotional. It's a very human exercise. And essentially, this is what makes it exciting, right? You are working directly with a team who are incentivized, by passion, by pure, problem solving, to make this company work, right? The returns potential for technology companies being highly scalable are really exciting, right? So the returns tend to be appealing for angel investors as well, but it's such a risky asset class that it's not the primary reason to go into it. Mentorship. A lot of successful entrepreneurs or successful men and women want to give back to their younger counterparts. Any of you that have been entrepreneurs, which I expect is a lot of you, know how difficult it is to get funding for your company. Don't you want to give back to entrepreneurs that are struggling as much as you did back then? Teach them, you know what, you should go with this lawyer, you should go with this bank, or you know what, you need to get started on your licensing way earlier than you think, because it's not going to take 3 months, it's going to take 11. Innovation. Specifically, tech investment is a really exciting place to come into because you're at the forefront of every new technology. You're with, these reckless problem solvers that break rules and think outside the box and come up with phenomenal solutions that you never would have thought of. So it's just a wonderful place to situate yourself as an investor. It's a little bit different than, let's say, real estate or stocks or bonds. And alternatively, and lastly, additionally, there's a community, right? There's angels, there's VCs, there's startup founders, there's incubators, there's accelerators. And all of these people have a shared value system. All of these people share the values of collaboration, proactivity, and a motivation to kind of make the world a better place to a certain degree. And maybe make some money doing that too. So we're talking about diversity, right? At the end of the day, this is also the panel about diversity and inclusion. So why women? Only 35% of MENA tech entrepreneurs are women. That's what's available, all right? But only 12% of the funded tech entrepreneurs were women. So it's not even on par with what's available, right? There happens to be there's some issues against getting them funded. And that 12% only received about 4% of all the capital that was put into venture capital last year. So the VCs that were on the panel before us, take note, guys. Thanks. So let's compare this to the US, because this looks a little bleak, but the US is actually worse. The US, only 20% of tech entrepreneurs are women, and of the ones that are funded, the later stage, the less percentage they are. So where we have 12% of female tech venture-funded entrepreneurs, they have 7. So we're actually doing a little bit better than them, and I think that's because we don't have too much competition that people can afford to be biased. So this leads us to ask, okay, WTF, guys, where's the funding? All right, 10% of women in of venture partners in the United States are women. And that dropped to 6% in 2014. And only 6, in the MENA region, we only have 6 female VC partners. And they all do like 2 or 3 other things on the side. So there, you can argue that maybe the lack of diversity on one side of the table leads to a lack of diversity on the other side of the table. Okay, forget VC. Let's go earlier in the lifeline of the startup, and you get women angel investors, right? There's 13 all-women angel groups in the United States, averaging between 10 and let's say 30 members, leading to about 21% of all angels in the US are women. Here, 10% of UAE angels. Guess how many angels there are in the UAE, right? There's only about 200 according to Dubai SME. I would argue from my experience, the 200 is like a very, very gross, over-hyped number. So we probably have a little bit less. However, most of these UAE female angels are part of my organization. So why does it matter, right? Okay, this is the biggest idea that we're all going to walk away from today, is that diversity yields better returns. So I'm not here to talk about, and we're not here to preach, include women, and women are not looked after, and just because we're women, you need to care. Okay, we're really talking about diversity, gender diversity, cultural diversity, age diversity. Diversity means that the conversation across the table is much deeper. You're going to have much more creative solutions coming out of them. So that's the biggest takeaway from this, and the numbers back it up. So imagine 22% of GCC wealth is owned by women. All right, it's not their husbands, their fathers, their brothers, anyone. It's theirs. And currently, they're only being used as consumers, or they're targeting that wealth as consumers. Additionally, 85% of the purchasing power, which means the money in general and all the purchasing decisions, are made by women. That's why we're so good at marketing That's why all of you have a marketing lead or a communications lead that's a woman. It's because women end up buying your products most of the time. But when you go further back in the pipeline, women aren't involved in the discussion. Apparently, when women are involved in these companies in leading positions, guess what? The company does better. They make 15% higher returns on average, and 49% of them have higher valuations. Is that because they're women? Is it just because women are better than men? I would love to say that. I can't say that. Okay, the point is that women and men are involved in these companies. It's diverse, right? So it makes everything better. And a startup has twice the chance of being successful with a woman on the founding team. All right, it's, again, diverse. A lot of the startups we've invested in, some have women leaders in the company, some don't. All of the ones that didn't eventually got one when they saw that women could contribute as much as their male counterparts. So, women tend to make better investments. They tend to manage money better. Statistically, venture capital firms that are all women, which is very few of them, make better returns than the male venture capitalists, most of the time. The reason is not because they're women. The reason is because they're detail-oriented, right? And men that are detail-oriented will get similar results. It's a trait and a quality that has been attributed to women, but everybody can have it. Being detail-oriented means you spend more time doing diligence on deals. It means you spend more time finding out about the company, how you can help, what the problems are, and you make better investment decisions. Ultimately, you get better returns. Again, maybe the fact that not as many female entrepreneurs are funded is because there aren't a lot of female investors. And that's a statistical fact, even though a lot of men aren't going to necessarily say they're biased or be biased. There's something called association bias, which means when you think of successful tech entrepreneurs, we think of Travis Kalanick of Uber, Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook, Eric Schmidt in Google. They're all white males, so when you're looking at two types of people, you're going to feel in your gut that this one is going to do better because he looks like all the other success stories. That's called association bias. Some women have it as well. But women are more likely to overcome that association bias because they consciously look for strong females as well, and are open to it. So, where does that leave One Mena? Now, we've been around for 2 years, which is not that much, but it's enough for us to have actual statistics that we can play around with. So in those 2 years, we've seen about a little over 900 startups, and only 36 of those 900 have been good enough to pitch to our investor base. So we really, really, really rigorously cut it down. Of those 36, only 6 of them got funding. And in that 36, only 50% of them had a female founder. Of the 6 that got funding, 33% have a female founder. And if they didn't have a female founder, again, or a female on the executive team, or a female on the board of directors, then they immediately started seeking one out. We have 40 member investors. Most of them are women. We're women-focused. The name is One Mena, after all. But we have some wonderful men, some of them in the audience, that really support our mission, understand that diversity yields better results, and really contribute to that 1.7 million, soon to be 2 million AED deployed in the past 2 years. So, what did we learn today, everybody? Say it with me. Come on. Diversity yields better results. Yeah, exactly. Questions? Anyone? Awesome. We all learned something fantastic today. Thank you very much.